Hello, my name's Henneberry. I'm a senior here at Meredith College studying mathematics.
Hi, my name is Raynor Dail. I'm also a senior and I'm studying International Studies and Religious and Ethical Studies. The title of our presentation today is Our Gender Stereotypes, Tumbling in Gymnastics. But before we begin, we wanted to give a quick trigger warning. This presentation does discuss instances of sexual assault, eating disorders, etc. So, to begin, in American society, athletes hold a special place in the hearts of their fans. Some dedicate their lives to their sport in hopes of representing their country at the highest level. To many, there is no better way to show the world America's power and competitive position in society than on the international stage. Compared to their fellow athletes, however, women's gymnastics represents the United States of America in a dramatically different light. A survey conducted by YouGov America, a company that collects data and public opinion, found that women's gymnastics was the second most popular sport for viewers to watch during the Olympics.
Gymnasts for Team USA are incredibly popular household names. These women are bold and daring on the competition floor, often performing routines that are incredibly dangerous if done wrong. But viewers admire gymnasts for their beauty and grace. Ultimately, female gymnasts not only represent their country because of their spectacular talent, but because they are a microcosm of American attitudes towards women. Concerns such as abuse, body image issues, and eating disorders will continue to plague future gymnasts despite demands for change within USAG because women's gymnastics is a microcosm of American society, and until society changes, women's gymnastics will remain stagnant as well. Bella and Marta Caroli, two famed gymnastic coaches, defected to the U.S. from Romania in 1981. The couple began to teach gymnastics in Texas and were the national coaches until 2016. While the Carolis were praised for making America's women's team one of the most dominant teams in the world, many gymnasts claimed that the Carolis ran, quote, the U.S. program with the same dictatorial tactics the couple used to build the Romanian dynasty in the 1970s, end quote. Stories of abuse from the Caroli Ranch, the home of USAG's training camps for elite gymnasts, run rampant. Other famous gymnastic coaches, including John Getter, have been accused of physical violence. One gymnast accused Getter of abusing her by twisting her arm and pushing her into a wall. Despite this cruel treatment, the United States continues to produce more gold medal gymnasts. Many coaches believe that the Carolis' cruel and abusive approach was responsible for the increased number of victories.
On the other hand, Larry Nassar, a former doctor, began to volunteer with gymnasts shortly after 1977. He quickly became a beloved figure in the gymnastics community, especially to athletes who he helped treat. Even after he pleaded guilty to sexual assault, his victims struggled to come to terms with the man who hurt them and the man who they considered to be their friend. Nassar abused athletes under the guise of medical treatment, claiming he was helping them. When the first article came out accusing him, Rachel Denhollander and Jamie Dancher experienced an extreme amount of verbal abuse online. Many of Nassar's victims came to his defense. Eventually, athletes including Aly Raisman, Simone Biles, Gabby Douglas, and Michaela Maroney spoke out about his abuse to them as well. During his preliminary hearing, one of Nassar's lawyers, Shannon Smith, attempted to question the character of victims who had come forward, even implying that one victim had come forward for fame. By questioning the character of his victims, Nassar's team was hoping to discredit their claims.
Many women fear being discredited if they come forward about sexual assault. A common stigma in the U.S. is that women who are assaulted might be asking for it, whether based upon how they dress, if they were drinking, or a number of other factors. Women often internalize that stigma, and few come forward. According to RAIN, an anti-sexual sexual violence organization, only 25 out of 1,000 perpetrators of sexual assault will be incarcerated for their crime, and only 310 are reported to the police. Sexual assault is not the only fear women live with. A study completed by the Anais Foundation in 2018 found that over 48% of women experience, quote, at least one form of psychological aggression by an intimate partner during their lifetime, end quote. While gymnasts experience different kinds of abuse based upon their sport, their treatment is a reflection of America's treatment of women. In an interview, Simone Biles, known as the greatest gymnast of all time, explained that she continued to compete in gymnastics for multiple reasons, including her fear that, quote, if there weren't a remaining survivor in the sport, USAG would have just brushed it to the side, end quote. Gymnasts, like many American women, often feel responsible to be a force to bring about change based upon their own experiences, such as Christine Blasey Ford, Simone Biles, or Jess Ladd, founder of the Sexual Health Innovations. While these women are standing in solidarity with others who have shared their experience, society places the responsibility of obtaining justice and helping other survivors on survivors themselves, instead of providing support, help, and belief outside of others. Gymnasts often deal with emotional abuse from their coaches that focus on their bodies due to society's ideal version of a gymnast. Gymnasts struggle balancing a healthy body that enables them to follow their passions while also living up to society's ever-changing idea of beauty. The obsession with weight led elite coaches to limit how much food gymnasts consumed. The emphasis placed on elite athletes to look perfect stays with them even once they quit the sport. Former gymnast Christy Henrich battled anorexia until she was 22, when she passed away weighing 60 pounds. Lack of confidence in body image can lead to eating disorders. Coaches like Getter often, quote, made frequent comments about girls gaining weight and placed them on strict diets, end quote. In gymnastics, comments like Getter's were a reason why body image issues and eating disorders often went hand in hand. Joan Ryan, author of Little Girls in Pretty Boxes, argues that America's obsession with weight, our glorification of thinness, have gone completely unchecked in gymnastics. The Caroli's takeover of American gymnastics led to the rise of a younger Team USA. In their eyes, the ideal girl was young, lithe, and skinny. As detailed above, both had emotionally abusive coaching methods. In the 1990s, the Athlete Wellness Program was developed by USAG in order to, quote, raise awareness within the sport about issues relating to nutrition and injury, end quote. Teaching girls how to eat well and take care of their bodies would ensure healthier gymnasts. However, the Crowleys did not want psychologists and nutritionists interfering with their work and influencing their athletes at training camps, so the program was cut. Almost immediately, gymnasts were removed from a world that could have provided them with a healthier lifestyle. Ali Raisman, however, worked with a sports nutritionist before the 2016 Olympics and found that his advice helped her improve her recovery and reduce inflammation. With proper nutrition information, Raisman was able to feel more confident in her body and compete better.
Caitlin Ohashi, a former gymnast at UCLA, revealed in an interview that she and her teammates did not know they were dealing with eating disorders. In an effort to look more like the ideal gymnast, they would have competitions with one another to vomit everything they had eaten, eat under 500 calories a day while training, measure their legs in order to determine if they could continue eating that day or not, and weigh themselves multiple times a day during practices. When asked if this was more common in gymnastics than people realized, Ohashi explained that she thinks, quote, it happens more in life everywhere than we know because people don't talk about it. So she'd say it's not just an issue of athletes or gymnasts, but everywhere, end quote. Until society accepts eating disorders as a conversation to be openly had, this pattern will continue for gymnasts and for people in general of all ages. Furthermore, the National Organization of Women found that by the time girls reach 17, 70%, quote, are unhappy with their bodies, end quote. When these girls are unhappy with their appearance, they sometimes take matters into their own hands. Some work out to lose weight. 66% of girls wanted to lose weight in another study conducted by the National Organization for Women. They found that 40 to 60% of elementary school girls were worried about being too fat. While Ohashi is a prominent gymnast, her story is not completely unique. The essence of gymnastics being a performative sport parallels the nature of being a woman in the USA. Being happy with oneself and comfortable in one's skin is often replaced by the idea of who and what one should look like. This is seen in the study conducted by Stanford University and the University of Massachusetts, which determined, quote, 70% of college women say they feel worse about their own looks after reading women's magazines. Like gymnasts, achieving an ideal body is something that American women are ingrained to desire, often leading to eating disorders. While many elite gymnasts deal with the pressure of looking perfect in front of the world, many American women experience that same pressure of looking perfect. Around 20 million American women experience an eating disorder in their lifetime. Many more face body image issues because of social media and editing technology that allows marketing employees to slim down women's hips, thighs, and calves.
The women who compete for Team USA in gymnastics are considered some of the greatest in the world. When they return home, these women, former symbols of national pride, return to tweets from body shamers and naysayers. While it can be argued that these athletes are anything but ordinary, their experience with social commentary and societal pressure is as ordinary as possible. Therefore, these young women are unequivocally a microcosm of American women. Likewise, even if USAG recognized the emergent necessity to readdress their practices and governance, the athletes would still be subject to the toxic environment of body shaming, eating disorders, and abuse as soon as they left USAG's facilities just by being on American soil.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed it.